Somewhere on this planet, there are waterfalls that fall so far they turn to mist before they reach the water. Lakes so still and impossibly blue that the sky seems to be looking at itself. Fjords where cliffs rise straight from the sea, and forests so ancient that stepping inside them feels like entering something untouched. All of that exists in one place. 2 islands in the far South Pacific, isolated between Australia and Antarctica. Small on the map, yet filled with more raw natural beauty than many countries twice their size. This is New Zealand. Caught between the Tasman Sea and the Pacific Ocean, its landscapes shift dramatically. From active volcanoes and ancient glaciers to rainforests, black sand beaches, and alpine valleys.
Sometimes it feels less like a country and more like the earth showing off. But New Zealand is not only a landscape. The Maori people have lived here for centuries, shaping a deep connection with the land, the mountains, and the sea. We are going to take you through this country, the New Zealand everyone comes for, and the New Zealand many never find. Take a breath, settle in, because this place doesn't reveal itself all at once. It opens slowly, until one moment you look up and realize you are standing somewhere extraordinary. Let's begin.
Some places are real. Some places are imagined. Hobbiton is both. On the Alexander family farm near Matamata, shaped partly by a film's ambition and partly by the land itself, this village holds the spirit of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit trilogies in physical form. Peter Jackson looked at these hills and saw Middle-earth. It's easy to understand why. You walk among hobbit holes with their round doors and tended gardens. You see the working mill. You sit in the Green Dragon Inn with a specially brewed drink in your hand and the Kaimai Ranges in the distance. The frame is complete. This is not simply a film set tour. It is a journey to understand why a story chose to live in this particular corner of the world.
Rotorua. The first thing you notice is not the smell, it's the smoke. White steam rising from the middle of the road. Mud bubbling at the edge of the footpath. A low, deep rumble from somewhere underground that reminds you, quietly, that something beneath you is still very much awake. Located on the North Island, Rotorua sits on one of the most active geothermal zones in the world.
boiling mud pools, erupting geysers, mineral springs, all of it rising through the fabric of an ordinary city. At Tepuya, you can watch the famous Pohutu geyser perform and encounter Maori culture face to face, not as an exhibition, but as something alive. Take the Skyline gondola up above the city for panoramic views of Lake Rotorua. Then come back down and explore the lake itself by paddle steamer, fishing charter, or amphibious vehicle. Sink into the mineral pools. After a long day, lowering yourself into water heated by the earth itself is not just relaxing. It feels like something older than rest. Milford Sound. In the southwest corner of New Zealand's South Island, deep inside Fiordland National Park, there is a place, and by the halfway point of the road that leads there, your breath has already begun to go. Milford Sound, known to the Maori as Piopio Tahi. The name suggests a bay, but it is not a bay. It is a fjord, carved by glaciers over thousands of years into something that does not seem to belong to an ordinary world. Towering rock walls rise sheer from the water. The surface below is so dark it reflects the sky like ink. And after rain, and it rains often here, hundreds of waterfalls appear from nowhere, spilling straight out of the clouds, as if the mountain itself has decided to speak. When the mist sits low and the peaks disappear and the waterfalls multiply and the only sound is water falling into dark water, the landscape stops being a landscape. It becomes something else, something without a name in most languages. It is the only fjord in New Zealand reachable by road, but that access does not prepare you. Nothing does. Some places overwhelm you on first sight. This is where the raw power of nature makes itself known. Auckland. New Zealand's largest city sits between two harbors, the Waitemata to the east and the Manukau to the west. Built on an extinct volcanic field, Auckland is both cosmopolitan and wildly beautiful. From the sky tower, the city spreads out below you. Sailboats dotting the harbor, volcanic cones rising through suburban streets, and islands scattered across the Hauraki Gulf like stepping stones to the Pacific. The waterfront buzzes with life. Cafes, markets, and the Maritime Museum telling stories of voyaging and exploration. Take the ferry to Waiheke Island for world-class wineries and secluded beaches. Explore the black sand of Piha on the west coast. Simply walk the harbor's edge and watch a city that has learned to live with both the ocean and the earth beneath it. Lake Tekapo.
There is a color that looks unbelievable in photographs and impossible in person. That is the color of Lake Tekapo. A milky turquoise drawn from glacial minerals, a blue that exists nowhere else in quite the same way. The Church of the Good Shepherd sits at the lake's edge, its small window framing the mountains beyond. It has become one of the most photographed buildings in New Zealand. But it is not the most beautiful thing here. The most beautiful thing is watching the surface of that lake through the hours of the day. At night, a different door opens. Tekapo is one of the world's premier stargazing destinations. The tours here show you the Milky Way not as a band, but as a river, a vast, moving thing flowing directly overhead. Horse trekking, paddleboarding, hot pools, scenic flights, or none of the above. Sitting on the turquoise shore and watching the lake is also the right plan. Here, it always is. Tongariro National Park. New Zealand's oldest national park is not just a nature reserve. It is both a volcanic wonder and a sacred piece of Maori culture, which makes it one of the rare dual World Heritage sites on the planet. Established in 1887, Tongariro holds active volcanoes, dramatic craters, and lakes in a color of green-blue that seems almost invented. The Tongariro Alpine Crossing is regularly named among the finest single-day hikes in the world. The ground shifts beneath your feet as you walk it. Ash paths, vast plateaus, and then that color, the impossible blue of the emerald lakes. Taranaki Falls offers something quieter. A place where sound and water meet. And everything slows. In Maori tradition, these mountains are the dwelling place of spirits. Looking up at the peaks, you don't need to be told why.
Queenstown. Positioned in one of the most beautiful settings on Earth, this town is something close to sacred ground for those who seek adventure. Sitting on the shore of Lake Wakatipu, in the shadow of the Remarkables mountain range, Queenstown moves, it breathes, and it invites you to do the same. Bungee jumping from the Kawarau Bridge, rafting through the wild rapids of the Shotover River, skiing down powdery slopes, you will find every version of adrenaline here. And when you come back to the town's back streets afterward, you'll recognize the look on the faces in the cafe windows, staring out at the mountains. Still alive, and it feels extraordinary. But Queenstown does not belong only to those who chase speed. Gibbston Valley offers exceptional wine touring. Hot pools offer the opposite of rushing. And the Lord of the Rings set tours let you see for yourself exactly where Middle-earth was brought to life. Because this landscape is not only real, it is legendary. Lake Wakatipu. Beneath Queenstown, carved by ancient glaciers, Lake Wakatipu stretches between mountains on every side. From Fernhill, the town, the lake, and the Remarkables appear together in a single view. Around its shores, quiet villages like Glenorchy and Kinloch offer their own peaceful connection to the water. Franz Josef and Fox glaciers. While glaciers around the world continue to retreat, Franz Josef and Fox still hold their position close to sea level, making them among the most accessible glaciers on Earth. That accessibility doesn't shrink them, it just makes their scale more immediate. Walk to the base of Franz Josef, through a river valley marked by deep horizontal scars, the traces of the glacier's advance and retreat over thousands of years. These are not records of the past, they are pages of a story still being written. For Fox Glacier, Cook Flat Road gives you the full picture, the glacier's breadth laid out in a single frame. Both of them diminish you in the best possible way. Standing in front of something this old and this large, you remember your place in things. Abel Tasman National Park. Some national parks make you feel powerful. Abel Tasman makes you feel at peace. New Zealand's smallest national park wraps a coastline of golden beaches, clear waters, and native forest into something almost impossibly serene. You can arrive by water taxi, kayak, catamaran, or on foot, and however you enter, the park receives you the same way, quietly and completely. Summer is popular, but locals often point to spring and autumn as the best time. Mornings are crisp, the water is calm, and the beaches are yours. A more honest experience of the place. Luxury lodges exist here if you want them, but to truly feel Abel Tasman, sleep under the stars. At night, the sky comes so close, it seems within reach. Bay of Islands. "144 islands, a subtropical climate, and the birthplace of a nation." Stretching along the east coast of the Northland region, the Bay of Islands gathers Paihia, Opua, and Waitangi at its heart. Waitangi carries particular weight. It is where the Treaty of Waitangi was signed in 1840, the founding document of New Zealand. This is not just a beautiful bay, it is the country's memory. But the water is everything here. Cruises, dolphin swimming, diving, sailing, kayaking, the bay asks you to get into it. Water taxis carry you between islands. Each one holds a different view, a different stillness. Just across the water from Paihia, Russell waits. New Zealand's first capital. Full of history and charm. Inland, the towns of Kawakawa and Kerikeri offer exceptional food, natural features, and stories layered into every corner. Coromandel exists to slow you down. Lush green valleys, mist-covered mountains, golden beaches, and fertile plains create a landscape designed for stepping away from the noise.
In Coromandel's small towns, nobody is in a hurry. A coffee, a coastal walk, an afternoon on the water. Simple things fill a day here, and they feel like enough. Wellington. New Zealand's capital is small, and that is part of its charm. A compact harbor city where historic cottages, Art Deco buildings, and modern architecture stand side by side. Walkable streets, strong culture, and museums like Tekapo give the city its character.
Mount Cook, Aoraki.
The Maori call it Aoraki, the cloud piercer. New Zealand's highest peak lives up to the name. Since the late 19th century, climbers from around the world have come here. Its altitude may seem modest compared with other mountain ranges, but Aoraki is far from gentle. Rugged terrain, steep ascents, glaciers, and unpredictable weather make it one of the Southern Hemisphere's most demanding mountains. You don't need to climb it to understand it. Walk the Hooker Valley Track, and the mountain reveals itself. Glacial lakes, floating ice, and the immense peak rising above everything. Some views stay with you. This is one of them.
The Catlins. In the far southeast of the South Island lies one of New Zealand's least known treasures. Rainforests, hidden waterfalls, rugged cliffs, and quiet beaches define the landscape. Wildlife thrives here. Sea lions, seals, dolphins, and penguins moving through their own wild territory. At Nugget Point, a lighthouse stands on a rocky headland above the ocean. At Slope Point, the southmost tip of the island, it feels like standing at the edge of the world. Rootburn Track. Don't let its length fool you. The Rootburn Track may be short by multi-day standards, but it is extraordinary. Running between Mount Espering National Park and Fiordland National Park, it crosses some of New Zealand's most dramatic landscapes: towering peaks, alpine valleys, waterfalls, and mirror-like lakes. At 1,255 meters above sea level, the full power of glacial landscapes becomes visible at once. Cliffs, valleys, and fjords stretching across the horizon. Marlborough Sounds. Thousands of years ago, these were river valleys. Then the ocean arrived. Today, Marlborough Sounds forms a maze of forested hills, hidden inlets, and quiet bays spread across 1,500 kilometers of coastline. It is a place to explore by boat, kayak or foot, or simply to sit and listen to the water. Kaikoura. Snow-covered mountains on one side, the Pacific Ocean on the other, and between them one of the richest marine habitats on Earth. Kaikoura lies beside a deep ocean trench where nutrient-rich waters rise to the surface, supporting permanent populations of whales, dolphins, and seals. In winter, snow on the mountains behind the town completes the scene. One reason many quietly call Kaikoura the most beautiful town in New Zealand. Napier. Napier is one of the world's best preserved Art Deco cities. Rebuilt after the 1931 earthquake, its streets still carry the elegance of the 1930s, especially during the annual Art Deco festival, when the city briefly returns to another era. Christchurch. Christchurch is a city of rebuilding. After the 2011 earthquake, it emerged with a mix of heritage, modern design, and creativity, while also serving as the main gateway to New Zealand's South Island. Beyond its landscapes, New Zealand is also shaped by a culture deeply connected to the land. English and Maori are the country's main languages, and Maori traditions and stories remain an important part of everyday life. The currency here is the New Zealand dollar. Though visitors often find the real value of the country lies in its experiences rather than its prices. Local food reflects both ocean and land. Fresh seafood, lamb, and simple farm ingredients are common across the islands. And while each region has its own flavors and traditions, the pace of life remains the same, unhurried, welcoming, and closely tied to nature. So there it is,
New Zealand, layered, living, ancient and modern, sacred and playful. The distances are real, the weather is real, the roads sometimes are long, but the spirit is real too. The beauty is real, and the warmth of a culture that has named every mountain, every river, every wind. That is as real as anything in this country. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe. Every bit of support means the world to this channel. We'll see you on the next one. Now, we leave you with the most beautiful images of this extraordinary country. New Zealand is waiting. The only question is, when do you go?